Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. If you're new to my channel, my name is Megan and I'm so glad that you're here. What I do on this channel is give weekly garden tours so that you can see my garden from week to week. And right now I am still harvesting a little bit of my summer garden. We have a lot of peppers and more green beans to harvest. And I'm also still getting my beds planted with fall and winter crops. They're all prepped, seeds are started, plants are started. So I'm going to show you all that I've been doing while harvesting a little bit of the leftover summer garden. So let's get started. Now, before I start up here for the garden tour like I always do from right all the way down to the left side, I do want to show you what's going on in the driveway down here because I feel like I never get to come down here and harvest on the tours. But these are my rolling metal carts and I want to share with you what they are, but also what I plan to do for the winter time. So in each metal bag, I have individual grow bags with herbs in here. And really the only reason I chose to put them in bags is so that I could grow individual herbs, but also if it got diseased or something was wrong with it, I could take it out and take care of that individual plant without it hurting the other ones. Oh, look at all this oregano. It's so pretty. I probably should harvest some of this soon. But a lot of this is just lavender, bee balm, thyme, oregano, catnip. And here's my goal with this. I'm going to leave everything as is. And if it grows back in the spring, summer, then I'm just going to keep whatever herb was placed in here, and if it doesn't, then I'll just start them from seed because every single one of these have all been started from seed. And I want to keep these all herbs because it's been really nice to come out of my door over here and just snip off what I need or just harvest a whole bunch and preserve it. And so that's my goal and that's my plan with all of these plants in the rolling metal carts. Something else that I want to show you on this tour, this is my retaining wall of bags that my GREENSTALKs cover, but I want to put some attention to the turmeric real quick as well as this ginger. I did purchase bulk of this last year and I preserved a lot of it that will last me for quite a long time. But when I saw the prices of them, I was like, gosh, I wish I could grow this myself. And so that's what I did. Now these are not quite ready to harvest yet. I will harvest this soon because I don't want it to go past the frost. But look at, they're still growing too. These are new shoots. But I do plan to do a separate video of harvesting this and what I did that I think helped these grow, especially the turmeric, because that one, these shot up fast. Ginger shot up really fast. The turmeric was a little bit more difficult. It did not start to grow as quick as the ginger, and I want to share in the video what I did to help it. So I just want to show you these real quick because I am super excited to harvest these and share it with you all. Now what I wanted to show you also down here are all of these green beans that I planted some weeks ago. You can see they're not ready to harvest, but you can see all of the buds, which means in the next maybe week or two, I'll have a ton of green beans. Now this one's definitely on its last leg, but it looks like we have a few to harvest. So let's go ahead and grab these. I have been planting, or I had been planting so many green beans in so many spots. So that means that I'm just picking green beans everywhere, which is what I wanted. so that I can get as much as I can, as I've said before the frost. And one of the things that I love about growing green beans or even snap peas is they're definitely nitrogen fixers, which is another reason why I love to put them everywhere, because it helps improve the soil. Now I want to quickly show you something in these bags down here. You can see there's a ton of little baby green beans still coming through. But if you can see this newer plant versus these older ones, there's some, even this one that looks like it's completely dead, it has green beans still growing. But what I want to point out is I have shared in previous videos that I will plant some green beans, they'll grow up, start producing, and then I will grow another seed next to it. And this is a prime example of one that has died back, even though there's still some green beans growing on it. And then some newer ones that are now producing. So you can have a continual harvest of green beans by doing that, and it's not in a very large space. You can see it's in a grow bag here, and you can have continuous green beans growing in just a small space. You can see this one is definitely not ready. There's a ton of little buds here and a lot of baby green beans. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest a bunch of these green beans that are down here in these bags and over here. And then we will go up there and I'll show you all the peppers and the green beans that we have to harvest up there. Now I really quick want to show you these two plants in these grow bags. These are my asparagus plants. These are perennials. I love having perennials because they don't require a ton of work as opposed to annuals. Now this is going on its third year, and then this is still its first year. You want at least 3 years for the roots to establish before you start to harvest. But this is just a great addition. I really highly suggest to grow perennials because one, they're very difficult to kill, and two, they don't really require a ton of work as opposed to other plants. And so from this, I'm going to be able to harvest a bunch of asparagus right out of these grow bags with not a whole lot of effort. And these were also started from seed. And so I just want to show you this because I never really get a chance to show these on the garden tours. Look at all those buds. I think in the next couple of weeks we are going to have a lot of green beans from these bags and this one as well as those two, and from these bags over here. And look, I have a dill plant growing in there. Love it. Okay, now we're in my backyard garden. We're going to work our way from here all the way down and then to the back, as I always do. But this first bed is going to be my overwinter pepper bed. The idea behind this is to save a couple of extra steps in planting peppers and getting a harvest sooner than later when spring, summer comes. But also, I had such really good success with overwintering some pepper plants in some bags that's actually what sparked the idea for me to try this. And then I was thinking, well, what could I do for the soil to replenish it over the winter and give it some good nutrition? And not only did I fill up the bed and replenish it with the soil and compost, but then I went ahead and I thought of planting some buckwheat clover so that through the winter this could feed the soil and just give it extra nutrition. And then I plan to cut these down, get all the leaves off of the pepper plants, and then put some hoops as well as some covers to protect the pepper plant. And then hopefully when it starts to warm up in the spring and summer, I can take all of that off. The soil will have plenty of nutrients. I'll probably feed it a little bit more once spring and summer comes. And then my hope is that it'll start producing peppers before my other pepper plants that I start from seed start producing. So this is an experiment. I'm gonna see how it works. And if it does, then that just really saved me a lot of time. So let's see if there's any peppers to harvest right now. Okay, well, the first thing I saw were these Anaheim chili peppers. These have been coming in very nicely. So we're gonna grab these two, and I see some other flower buds, so that's exciting. There's another one here. I really do hope that overwintering these in this bed works, because it really would save a ton of time. I do want to show you all of these cayenne peppers. Now, they haven't turned red, and the bees are out today, you guys. I haven't seen them for a little while, but they're back out because our weather is still warm down here. But there's a ton of cayenne peppers that hopefully will be red by next week. And then we've got some bell peppers coming in. Those are not ready yet. We've got this one still that's not quite ready yet. Let's see if there's any more. These dahlias, they really just are so beautiful. Look at how stunning that color is. It's so vibrant. These just make me smile. I'm gonna miss these very much. Look at all this buckwheat. Oh my gosh, is this fun. This sprouted so fast. I really hope this works. So there's a ton more peppers, but none of them are ready to harvest. Wow, look at all those, you guys. Look at all those peppers. Oh, I found one over here. This one's ready to harvest. It's a cayenne pepper. Let's see if there's any more. My mini red bell peppers. None are ready to harvest yet. And what's nice is I have probably about 3 more weeks until our supposedly we're supposed to get a frost. So I might still be able to get quite a bit of peppers from these in the weeks to come. And I'm sure by putting the compost as well as the refreshed soil probably did help with allowing these to grow a little bit more, because it gave it some more nutrients. So we'll see. It's a lot of little baby peppers everywhere. A lot of little baby peppers everywhere. And this one, look at all these. So that's all we have for right now. Let's go look at the green beans. So these green beans, as well as the other green beans over here, every week I have been so blessed to be able to harvest green beans, which, you guys, this has been my goal for this garden, is to, look at those, is to harvest food every week. The goal is to eliminate having to go to the grocery store every week for fresh produce. And so far, I have met that goal, and I'm really excited that I did. Now, again, does it cost money to set up a garden? Yes. Are there ways you could do it where it doesn't cost a ton? Absolutely, which is why I did the bucket garden. But again, when you're saving time and gas from having to go to the store every single week just for fresh produce, it really, truly does save at the end of the day. And then once you do establish a garden, whether you do something like this or a bucket garden back there, once it's established, and all you have to do is pay for soil and compost. And again, you can make your own compost. I haven't gotten to that stage yet. And then just seed. And even with seed, you can save seed. For example, this right here, which it's not quite, I think I'll probably do this next week or the week after, but you can save seed. And in here are a bunch of green beans, and each one of these beans represents an entire plant that's going to give you more green beans. So there's ways that you can garden that does not cost a whole lot of money. And for me, I think it's a win-win situation when you don't have to waste your time, your gas, your wear and tear on your car, and you can just go in your backyard and pick food. I think for me, that's it. That's what I wanted to do, and I just find that it works best, and it's just a goal that I had, and I'm so glad that I did it. It was a lot of work, but it's so worth the work. So I want to show you right now, because if you have been on every garden tour every week, you know that I have been harvesting from these green beans. And look at all of these new shoots. They're just They're everywhere. I think green beans, I know I feel like I'm redundant at what I say every week, but they really are one of the best vegetables to grow. For me, they've been easy to grow. They're prolific vegetable. I shared earlier, they help fix nitrogen into the soil. So all the way around, it is just a win-win plant for me to grow. Plus my family loves them. They're easy to freeze, they're easy to cook. So I just wanted to share that with you because every week we have been grabbing green beans from these plants and it's been in an abundance, which has been wonderful. Now these lovely bushy plants are marigolds. They're red marigolds. They look healthy and I know they're gonna probably start sprouting soon because there's a few on the other side and one of the flowers looks like it's gonna open up sometime soon, and I'll show you that in a minute. But it is kind of a pain in the butt, right? By the green beans, because it's a little hard to get there. I put this here for companion plant just for pest pressure. And while I haven't seen any pest issues, so maybe it is helping, it really is kind of a pain in the butt to get through. So I don't know if I do it again, but hopefully they start to bloom soon because they do look very bushy and very healthy. So we'll see. But let's get the other side of green beans, the other side, which is the Antigua green beans. And let's see if we have any to harvest. So far I got a couple. Let's see if there's any more. Yep, there is. Let's see. Lots of starts though. It's like the starts just never stop, which I'm not complaining. Now, as far as what I plan to plant in here for the, oh, see, look at, it's a little flower ready to shoot out. What I plan to put in here, I'm not actually really sure. I had leeks, onions, and cauliflower, as well as broccoli in here before, and those did really well in the springtime. But I'm not in a hurry to take these out because the green beans have been doing so good in here that it's producing food, so I don't want to take it out. But I do plan, like I said, to have hoops and covers. So with all the starts that you've seen me do the last video are going to be probably what I put in here, and we'll just put that in when these green beans are done, and then I'll have the hoops and the covers to protect them during the cold. That's my hope anyways, is to be able to do that, and that with the hoops and the covers it'll protect the plant. So we'll see how it goes. My goal is to always have something growing and always trying to plant and protect it, no matter whether it's winter or summer. That's my goal all the time. There are those tomatoes that were sitting in here last week. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab these because the one red one, I don't know, that's not looking too pretty. So I'm just gonna take these inside. This one I'll just let it ripen. This one may not be good. Now, since we're over here, I do have a few bags around here, so I'm just gonna grab a few tomatoes that are right here that I can see visibly. You can see these were the money makers. These have been really, 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 really nice. So I'm gonna grab this one because this one's showing a hint of red. And then I will definitely take this one as well as these. Now, I am gonna be taking, as I said before, the bags and buckets are going to be my very last bit of things that I pull out. The beds are my main concern, but I am going to be pulling these out of here soon. It's just that they are producing tomatoes, although the tomatoes, they're still tasting good, but they're not obviously as good as just, you know, in the hot, hot, hot summer. So, but we'll take what we see and we'll harvest those. Now, to give you a quick update on my dying back cucumber vines before we hit up the other green beans over here, they're definitely dying back, as I've said before they should, because our nights are getting colder. But I am still getting some of these, what are these called? They're the silver slicers. I did plant the silver slicers a little bit later, and there was another one over here. Oh, there it is, right up there. I'm not gonna harvest those, maybe next week or during the week. And then I also have, let me get up there for a second. I do have these and these, and these actually were my favorite ones. I can't tell if they're gonna grow larger. I have a feeling that they're not, but I've noticed that at least the silver slicers have been growing. So I'm just gonna let these sit here until I have to pull every single one of them out. I have pulled a little bit out during the week if I see one completely dead. Like, for instance, this one is completely dead. So I could pull that out, or actually cut it, because I have all of my snap peas planted here. But like the ones that are obviously producing, the ones that are producing like this one, I'm just gonna leave it in there until I absolutely have to just take it out, because why not? You know, the ones that I did harvest the last tour, they were absolutely the most delicious cucumbers I had eaten, even though like all summer the cucumbers have been amazing. There was just something about these though. They were so delicious. So I'm just gonna leave them here. And then when it's time to absolutely take them out, I'll just cut them, like I said here, leave the roots in there for organic matter. And then in place, I have these snap peas. I have 4 different varieties in here. And so that was what I was trying to do. I was trying to get as many cucumbers as possible and then have these grow so that when the cucumbers are done, my goal was to have these producing food not far behind the cucumbers. And then we have some on this side. I did replant a couple that didn't sprout. For the most part, most of them sprouted, but there was just a couple that didn't. But look at, they've grown so much these last couple of tours. So I'm excited about those. Now let's go over here and grab whatever green beans we have over here. So look at all of these tomatoes that are growing over here. Look at them. They're still growing quite a bit. I've already harvested a couple. Since I'm over here, I might as well just grab some. So I'm just gonna pick these because I will be taking these out of the bag soon. I don't know when exactly. The beds, like I said, are my first priority. But in the meantime, we're getting tomatoes still. Now we're going to see if there's any Gold Rush, Royal Burgundy, and then we have Jade and Contenders on this half. And then I cannot wait to show you all of the peppers that are growing over here. It is so beautiful and there's so much peppers, but let's do the green beans first. So let's see if there's any Gold Rush. I would think that they have to be dying down here. I know there's quite a bit of baby ones, so they're not quite done, but they should be soon. Lovely white flies as usual. Here's some more. These are a very pretty green bean. Especially when the light hits it, it looks very pretty. Now let's see if there's any Royal Burgundies, and there are. There's still some small, look how pretty that is with the sunlight hitting it. It's so pretty. So there's still quite a bit of flowers and buds. I really thought this would be on its last leg already, but it's not. So that's pretty exciting. I've enjoyed growing these too. The color is just so beautiful. It's very stunning, very vibrant. But yeah, they're still going to be, and this is again why I have not pulled these out, because they're producing food. So there's no reason for me to pull these out yet. I'm not in a huge rush. I have other beds that I could plant stuff in. So let's see if there's any more. There's some here. And that's what's nice about having the mulch too. So when they're low like that, hanging, they don't get full of, you know, soil and get all dirty and stuff. Not that it's a big deal, but it helps. Now let's see if there's contenders and jades, and it looks like there is. These have been very good too. And I see a lot of baby green beans still. So we'll have more of these to harvest as the weeks come. Now on to the pepper plants. This is the one that I am really most excited about because if you've been following me, you know that I have been waiting and waiting. And now that we're in the fall time and it's gonna be, you know, frost soon, they are just now growing everywhere, which is fine, that's fine. But look at all of these. I don't know if you can see all of these flowers and then all of the peppers, but everything is flowering and fruiting. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna harvest a ton of these, and then I'll show you everything that we got from these plants. Now I do want to show you from this angle all of these peppers. I don't know if you can see all those dark black spots. Those are all peppers, but you guys look at all of the jalapenos on here. This is just, that's a ton of jalapenos. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to harvest as many as I can, and let's see what we get. Okay, you guys, I got a ton of peppers. And look at all the jalapeno peppers I got. I have a feeling in the next couple of weeks we're going to be picking a lot of peppers from this bed. And in the meantime, I did replenish this bed a couple weeks ago, and I planted French breakfast radishes. Now some of them are looking okay, but some of them are looking a little leggy, so I might have to replant them. But we'll see. Right now, I just rather have the peppers in here, and I'd rather be harvesting those in the next 2 weeks because, as I've been saying, I'm going to put hoops and covers over these beds. Now, these are my last 2 beds that I have not pulled. So let's move over here, and I'm going to show you that I did pull these last 2 beds, and I filled these with fresh compost as well as Bacto soil, and you can see they're all freshly done. They're ready to be planted. I haven't planted anything in these just yet, but this one I've shared before that I've planted the perimeter, and I just added a few more seeds. I planted turnips around the entire perimeter of this bed, and then over the week I did plant a couple of cilantro in here since we're going into the cooler weather. And then these over here did get planted with lettuces. I don't see any that sprouted yet, so hopefully they'll sprout soon. Otherwise I'll have to replant some lettuce in those. But in the meantime, these are pretty much my last 2 beds, minus this one pepper bed here, because that other pepper bed's going to stay the same. But these are the 3 that I need to take down. This one I'll probably actually take down before the peppers. I'm not sure, but these are the last 3. In the meantime, I still do have a couple of tomatoes. I still do have Kentucky Wonder green beans. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to harvest any Martina Roma tomatoes that are in here, and any San Marzano tomatoes that are in here, as well as any Kentucky Wonders. And then hopefully by the next tour, you're gonna see that all of this is out with some plants in these squares. And then just to reiterate, because I've shared this before, on the perimeters, I have carrots here. I also have carrots on that end, and then these are all the parsnips. Now, I did replant some parsnips because I haven't seen them germinate. I'm not really sure why, because the carrots germinated just fine. So we'll see. And then on the perimeter here are all beets. They've been germinating beautifully. I added a few in spots that didn't. And then I've shared this before, but all of my telephone snap peas, they're doing beautifully and they're growing along the trellis. I had really great success with the telephone snap peas, so I'm growing them again. And I just grew them on each little mark here from the trellis. And I've been just very gently, because these can break very easily, I've been very carefully wrapping them around the trellis so that they can learn to grow up. And then, as I said before, the Kentucky Wonders, I will just cut them right there, leave the roots in there for organic matter, and then hopefully those will be grown up and we'll be harvesting snap peas after the Kentucky Wonders are completely done. So let's go ahead and harvest whatever is in here. Let's see, I do see Kentucky Wonders. I'm gonna miss these. I'm definitely gonna miss harvesting these. Let's see what it looks like up top. I get on my stool. Oh, look how pretty with the sun hitting it. That's super pretty. So over on this side, there's quite a bit of tomatoes. You can see over here. So at this point, whenever I'm ready to tear these out, I'll have to grab those red ones on the other side. Whatever is here when I'm ready to tear it out, whether it's green, blush, or red, is gonna have to come out, because I really need to start getting the other plants in here. But there's still quite a bit of tomatoes growing. I don't know about you, but I know tomatoes can keep growing and growing if there's warm weather, but I don't know. It's so hard to get rid of a plant when you can see that they just keep growing food like that. I know it's got to come to an end, but that's just how I feel sometimes. I don't know about you, but it feels like the summer just went by way too fast. Now, before we go to the back part of the garden and the bucket section, I do want to check my overwinter plants to see if there's anything to harvest. And I think we do have a couple of poblanos. But these are the plants that gave me the idea to overwinter my pepper bed, because these were pepper plants that I had last year. Let's see, I think we could probably harvest these jalapenos. But because of the success that I had last year, or overwintering these and how well they did, and they were the first plants that gave me peppers, and not only the first one that gave me peppers, but they stayed consistent, which is another reason why I did a separate video on overwintering pepper plants. That's what gave me the idea to do the entire bed. So we'll see what happens, but we got some jalapeno peppers, and then I think there's some poblanos as well. Now, before I grab the poblanos, I do want to show you the bell peppers. This one is definitely turning red. I prefer to pick them red because they're very sweet, and I'm not in a huge rush for these. So now if it starts to get cold out, I'll grab them even if they're green. But I still have a couple weeks, so I'm just going to let these chill on here and grow a little bit more. And then in the meantime, look at all these poblanos. Oh my gosh. Not only are they growing, just a ton over here, but they are these are my overwintered poblano plants, and they're just growing so much on here. So I think we've got this one I can harvest for sure. Every week I've been harvesting poblanos, which has been really nice. And it's not a very spicy pepper unless you let it get super red, then it's kind of spicy. Oh, something bit it. I guess somebody was hungry. This one might be a goner. So we'll have to see. Here's one, and then here's another one. I want to quickly encourage you as we are touring and harvesting my garden that even though we are in the full swing of fall, if you feel behind that you haven't gotten anything planted, it's okay. Just keep on getting your garden ready, keep on planting, because I think the best thing to do is to always keep growing plants and planting, because you just never know what's going to grow and what's not going to grow. And even though we're going into the winter, try throwing some hoops and some covers over and see if you can actually grow throughout the winter, because you just never know unless you try. That's what I plan to do in this garden this year. I have not done that yet, but I'm really looking forward to it because I want to have continuous food growing in my garden. And there's going to be failures, but then along those failures are going to be successes because you're going to learn from it. So I just want to take this second to encourage you to keep growing and keep planting no matter what. Now for pretty much the other half of my garden. This is my bucket garden. I will leave, actually I always leave a link to my bucket garden video because I think it's a really inexpensive way to garden. All these buckets were for free. The pallets are just an option. I have it here because my land slopes down. It just helps to keep the buckets even. Plus, it just keeps it nice and organized. But the buckets were free, you guys. I just had to pay for compost and soil and seed. And again, if you compost yourself, you're saving money there. And it's just soil and seed. And if you seed save, you're saving money there. So before we get to this back part, I do want to share what's right here. So over here was my pumpkin during the summer, and we just didn't, I don't know what happened, but it just wasn't having it. So I just threw some green beans in here, which looks like they're ready to harvest. I've been waiting to harvest these. These are I'm sure they're the Antigua green beans. And then the other bags over to the right are my watermelons. Now, I have always struggled with watermelons, and so this year I got a couple of sugar babies. Last year I did grow some, but they were not nearly what I was hoping they were going to be. And so this year, the same thing, they didn't really do very well. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So these watermelons, now this one looks like I may be able to harvest soon. These are sugar babies, so they're supposed to be small like this. Now, I did grow some larger ones that just, actually, you know what, you guys? I'm going to just go ahead and harvest this because look at how dead this vine is. We're going to harvest this. Now, there are new shoots coming. This one does not look like it's going to make it because we're getting colder nights. I'm just not in a hurry to take these out. I did have some larger watermelons, like I was just saying, that I put in here, and I didn't really have success this year. They just really started late, and I'm not really sure what happened. I have some ideas for what I want to do next year, so we'll have to try it, but in the meantime, I'm not in a hurry. I'm just going to let these, ride out until the colder months, and then maybe plant something during the winter time. I'm just not sure yet, but either way, they're growing, and I'm sure this will taste delicious. It's just really small. I want to grow a really large watermelon, so hopefully next year we'll try and we'll get one or a couple. So we're going to walk through here, and we're just going to harvest whatever we see. Now, these are ready to harvest. These are the Martha F1 tomatoes. These have been my favorite, and I've shared every video. I'm going to be planting these every year. I also overwintered these and did very well. I overwintered one plant to test it out, and they were the first tomatoes that I got for the year. And even when I did overwinter the plant, it did taste really good. They weren't gross. They didn't, taste bad. They were actually really delicious. More sun rays. I love the size of these. These are really, really good tomatoes. This one I'll probably take too because it's showing a hint of yellow. And then there's more flower buds. Something I did want to show you is this cantaloupe. Now, I don't know if it's going to grow to its full size. I highly doubt it. But again, because I'm not in a huge rush, I'm just going to let it sit there and see if it even grows to be somewhat of a decent size. But this is the Rocky Ford cantaloupe. I'm definitely going to try growing this next year, but a lot earlier than I did this time. Now here are a couple of Cherokee purples that are in my buckets. And I'm just not in a huge hurry, like I said, to empty the buckets out. So I'm just gonna let them continue to grow. And then this is my last batch of Tulsi Holy Basil. But I'm just gonna let that sit here and I'm gonna harvest those whenever I need to make tea. And then whenever I'm ready to redo the buckets, there's some Tulsi Holy Basil here too. When I'm ready to redo the buckets, I'll just pull them out. Let's grab these green beans to complete the harvest, and then we will be done. Now, before I complete the tour, all of these bags over here do have green beans in them, as well as the ones back here. A lot of them still have flower buds, but you can see that they have grown a lot over the last couple of weeks. So in the weeks to come, you can see all the little baby green beans. In the weeks to come, we'll be harvesting a ton of green beans in the back here. And then for those that have been following me, I told you that I was gonna attempt to do squash one more time. You guys, the squash we're just not friends. I guess they just don't like me. Now this one looks somewhat healthy, but look it just hasn't produced anything. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait until next year and try it again. So friends, thanks so much for going on another garden tour and harvest with me. My hope with this channel is to share with you on a week-to-week basis what I do in my garden, how I either get from one season to the next, or the food that I keep harvesting every single week in my garden that allows me to not have to go to the grocery store to get produce every week. I just want to be an encouragement to you, and also not only an encouragement, but to help you and give you ideas as you see me walk through my garden. So I hope that this helped you, and let's see what we got today. So this time we got a lot of peppers. I knew that was going to happen. We're going to still be harvesting a lot more peppers in the next couple weeks. We're still getting tomatoes, which is a huge plus for me, and then green beans galore. And that's going to be another vegetable that we're going to be harvesting a lot, are the green beans. But either way, look at that. Every week I've been able to almost fill up this entire basket. That has been a blessing and a goal of mine, and I couldn't be more excited. So friends, thanks so much for stopping by, and I really look forward to seeing you next time. Bye. And remember, friends, be encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.